Traders, welcome to today's Bitcoin and cryptocurrency update. It is Wednesday, the 17th of July, 2024. So we're still moving up like on the chart here. So the past couple of days, there have been opportunities to take short positions, but they've been quite quickly stopped if you weren't to take profit on them swiftly. So I basically took the last couple of days, I've taken one short as just let's see if it can work out kind of thing. Neither of them have, and we've just continued higher. So these little head short positions, just something that I like to do instead of taking profit on any longs that I've got. And I'm not taking profit on any longs that I've got because I do absolutely believe that we're blasting to new all-time highs soon, even if we just stay within this range for another month or so. I just do not want to be taking profit on longs. It's been long enough that I've been accumulating them. I don't want to be taking profit, so I am hedging those short positions. There has been a couple of opportunities for that, but they have been fairly short-lived and eventually just getting stopped out from that. As we can see today, the market is very green once again. So we have just a ton of green on the board. If we're looking at this, we've got a lot of altcoins especially that were heavily oversold, heavily fudded over the past month or so. WorldCoin, for example, being one of the biggest movers of the day. Pendle, IMX, Pyth, FET, Tau, a big mover. So that was one that we'd been talking about within the channel quite a lot. Looking at just these real good opportunities for even just the mean reversion play, where it's been big FUD, big FUD, big FUD on just about everything, and now we're getting that massive recovery. So once again, patience has paid off. Anyone who was underwater last week or the week before is now going to be massively in profit, and that's really nice to see. It is an opportunity, I think, now to be taking some profits probably on some altcoins. I wouldn't say just yet on Bitcoin, because I do believe that we can still push a little bit higher here. But certainly, I think hedging short around here as we have come into this golden pocket region is sensible. But you've just got to know, play those quickly, get the profit as and when you can, and just play this momentum, because it is good momentum. We are moving up quicker than we move down. We have seen consistently, we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days now where we've had green candles. And I've mentioned this on previous streams, is I do believe that we are in this little phase of the market here where you've had the capitulation, you've had the recovery, this being the capitulation, this being the recovery, and now we're seeing this next markup. Now that can continue, I believe. We could be seeing a situation where we come into that 67k POC today. If it can break through that, then we do have value area high there at 69 once again. That 69,420 could come back into play, because not only is that the value area high of this current range, so this being the range that we've been trading for the majority of the year at this stage, for the last few months, it is also value area high of our VWAP. So with our yearly VWAP, we can see the outer band. Hopefully your screen can show this. I do have just a light shaded gray area that's here around about that 69,420 as well. So if we are going to get continuation up to that point, I think that would be a very interesting zone in which to look for those bigger shorts, because at that stage you've got that invalidation with these lower highs that have been playing out, to trade that back down and maybe just continue on with this range for a little bit longer. Now, where this is at the moment, I think today we're seeing another situation where it's slightly just caught up in a little bit of a nothing area. Right now, we're between that 618 at 64,900 and the 702 at 66,500. And if we go down onto the 4 hour here, we can see we did have this little 4 hour gap, right? So there was a 4 hour gap just here, which I did take a short yesterday off of what could have potentially been a lower high after we got that first rejection yesterday morning, right? I was looking for a head short position here that could take us lower. But as soon as we started to recover back up, come back into our daily open area, I closed out of that with the expectation that we're going to come into this 4-hour gap here. Yeah, and there isn't actually any more imbalance until we look all the way back. Once again, that gives us a target up here as the next imbalance on the chart from a 4-hour time frame is up there at 70,500, which is a long way away from where we are right now. So things are looking good. We've had the back test of daily open today. So go down again onto the lower time frames here. This was the trade I took yesterday, which was just here, right? So I did go short here. Now the reason for that is this is actually clearest on the 30-minute. You had the single prints that formed yesterday morning. All right, price came back in, back tested, rejected off of those. And what we also had there was confluence with local 618, golden pocket, right? So it did come up into that 618-702 zone, which is fair enough. Like that's a decent area in which to be looking for those short positions if you are thinking that this move could retrace. We had quite a big rejection in the morning. Okay, we didn't come down and take these lows, and I was thinking that there is an opportunity for us to test back into some support a little bit lower down. But it didn't play out, and that's it. Like I'm massively weighted into long positions, so I'm very happy to take these shorts as and when I see these opportunities. But as soon as we got, I think it was on this candle here, right? As soon as you broke through that, and you're like, okay, it's inevitable at this stage. So my invalidation was coming back above these highs. I closed out of it early, knowing that that's going to happen, and that's something that when you have these. When you have a stop that's based off of an invalidation like this, then I think that's a really important thing to do, is just to understand when like it's almost inevitable that you're going to be stopped out. You don't have to wait for the trade to play out in its entirety. If you get this sign of strength, it's like, okay, well that's dipped and it hasn't really gone any further, and now suddenly we're bouncing again. You know there's a 4-hour gap above, so you know that there's liquidity above that can be taken with these poor highs. Then it just makes sense to get out of that as close as you can to break even before you take an actual stop loss on this. So that was what I was doing yesterday. I do still think that this can go a little bit higher today. So I do think that this could continue on a little bit higher. We have that standard thing of just it being just round numbers. So when it came into 65k, okay, that got the rejection. So that's where we had the poor highs yesterday, was at an even number at 65k. Where we had this here, this consolidation was at an even number at 63k. And now we're just seeing the same thing. It's an even number, 66k. Without, for myself, there being a whole lot else around here, really. We're still continuing on with this momentum. I still believe that it could do another leg higher before we get that deeper retrace. Now, at some stage, I am thinking that a move back down into the weekly open, even if that's this week or next week, to back test the previous week open, to clean up any of those high time frame levels that are there, is a play that we should be looking for. And then we do need to be aware that there is the CME gap that's down here at 58k. At this stage, you're looking at that as being really quite a deep retrace. Where we were yesterday, it was lining up with the 618, but now you're going to be going along like around about that 786 here before you get to those lows. So actually, no, so you're okay there. You're okay. You do get one of those standard retraces, and what we can be looking at here is also the POC of this range. So that 58k zone does come into play. But I'd say, first of all, we still have to be trading the momentum higher. Right now, 67 is where we've got the point of control, although from other exchanges, 66 to 67k is where we have the highest volume within the range. If it does start to roll over, first thing you're going to be looking at is that move down to take out the equal lows that we have at 62. You got the weekly open at 60, and then if it starts to lose that again, then I would be looking for a consolidation back down at 58, just to continue to play out the little range that we're in right now. So it is another situation of just level to level. Not really thinking that, I mean, this could go to new all-time highs. We know that the amount of fear and FUD and desperation that there was when Bitcoin crashed to 54. The amount of people that were screaming on live streams, like, why are you buying here? We're going to go to 52, we're going to go to 44, and all of these targets. The loudest voices were the bears last week. So therefore, I don't really, sometimes you get this situation where you get the breakaway gap and it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and it does not look back. And that is something that I am very aware of, which is precisely the reason why I'm not taking profit on my long positions. Because whether we range here or whether we go just straight to melt up to new all-time highs, I just want to I want to have that exposure for myself. And I think that's the style of trading that I'm doing at the moment. I'm aware that I'm not really trading so much on these lower time frames. I have a higher time frame view on the market. I'm extremely confident we're going to be smashing to 100K, 120, 130K before the end of the year. There's just no need to overthink it. So that's kind of just what I'm looking at right now. How could you realistically even get into a short position here as well? I just think it's tough. You look at the trend that's going on here. It is increasing in speed and momentum to the upside. We are essentially starting to go parabolic here as well. So if you're shorting into a trend that is increasing in speed and momentum higher, all right, that's your initial trend. Then we have this one. Okay, then you start to put this one into play, and we are very, very clearly parabolic right now. And this is still speeding up, extending higher. So until you start to break some of this and lose this momentum that we see on the chart, it just is dangerous to short it. Now, if we get a scenario where, let's say, it stalls at 60 SFPF of this high, you drop back down, you lose the momentum, because we can see faster, that can continue and can continue and can continue. And it's the same thing that we saw in October of last year, where we had this same thing playing out. When you do start to lose that momentum, I think that's when you can start to target those moves down. So let's say you lose these later trend lines, you lose that parabolic advance, you come back into an area where you have maybe what had been some support flips into resistance. Then you can start to target these zones below, line those up with the trend lines, line those up with the moving averages, line those up with the VWAPs from, for example, from the low. You'd be looking at that as a real decent level right now, wherever that may end up. So those are the kind of things you can be looking at. But as I keep saying, and I repeat, like, it's dangerous to short a parabolic advance, which is what we are very, very clearly seeing now, which I will just refer back to what we had back here. And we all know what happened at the end of that, okay? You had the parabolic advance that was like this, and then you just continue to move higher and higher, and you go parabolic until eventually you blow off, like, bit of a blow off top here. And that's the situation that we had. So really similar to what we did see back in, like, this phase of the market here. Again, we had that blow off top over here, and we see these situations time and time again. So yeah, hopefully that's just that kind of, I don't know. Levels are a little bit difficult, because when we do hit levels, we're still just pushing beyond them. Books are fairly thin, because everyone's wiped out. Yeah, there's no need to retrace. It doesn't need to do it. Just because there's a CME gap down here, right? It doesn't need to do it. I touched upon this in yesterday's video and yesterday's stream. The gaps that you need to be aware of are the ones that happen in the middle of trends, because the market then comes back to take those. Breakaway gaps don't need to be filled. They really do not need to be filled. They're good. Okay, within every big cycle that we've had from Bitcoin, we have had breakaway gaps that have not been filled. And that's to the upside and to the downside. We still have these gaps from back here in 2020, right? Where, I mean, this almost being the same phase of the market. You have that breakaway gap, it continues, you then continue higher. And it's not until the bear market that these then get filled, like two years later. almost 2 years later. And we do see these situations playing out a lot. What's this thing here? Interesting. Same situation that we have with the breakaway gaps that we had. Again, there was one down here at 3K somewhere, I believe. There's something somewhere at 3K that people still talk about now, and that didn't get filled until the COVID crash. So yes, anyway, a little bit of a tangent there. Anything else that we need to discuss? We're still seeing very healthy ETF flows. So as we can see from the ETFs, we're just getting consistent inflows from the market, and they haven't reached like the peak stage yet that we've seen where there were these massive inflows that marked local tops previously, where you had the ETFs were trading at a premium. It's all very much neutral here. You are seeing that spot is leading this move, but we're not getting to a point where I'd say the move is exhausted. There's still momentum here, and I think trading momentum is still the best thing that you can do as a trader. If we look here at our CVD, I'll just take this down onto let's take it down onto the 5 minute here. Then we can see here, spot is still healthy. You did have that scenario yesterday where we had the momentarily had some longs trapped, and you had the divergences that were playing out on Agra here, where you could see that spot, the blue line, was making this lower high on CVD as price was making a higher high, and then it was perps that led that rally higher. Now that did correct, it came back down. You then created bullish divergences at the lows, and now we're back into a situation where we're fairly neutral again. There's no greed here from bulls, I wouldn't say. There doesn't really seem to be any major sign of weakness here. The only thing that you could possibly say is, I mean, depending on what happens here, still be aware that it's very steep, this parabolic advance, and if this does lose this daily open, then I think you would lose this momentum that we've seen over the past couple of days here. But overall for now, I think, still just remain patient, really. Remain patient with this trend. If you do start to lose the momentum here and it goes a little something like this, where you have this trend line and then you start to lose the daily open and you have VWAPs and all of those kind of things that start acting as resistance, then we can start looking for lower prices. I think that's everything. I don't have anything more to say on these charts. It's just a case of being patient and trading the momentum, trading the trend, wait for the momentum shift. Then you can look for the short positions, or just take quick scalps where you can take profit quickly before you get stopped, essentially, which is where there have been opportunities for that. All right, even the short that was yesterday, there was opportunities to take profit from that. If we look at a situation today, it's been a bit difficult today, but let's say if we come and SFP these highs, absolutely, short position is possible. Or if we do, say, lose daily open, short position is possible here with invalidation of these highs, but you just got to play it level to level like that and take those profits quickly and give the longs room to breathe and be aggressive on profit taking on the shorts. But yeah, that's all. Have a great day, everybody. I'm going to continue on with the stream. Make sure you hit the like button on this video, and a reminder that I do stream every morning around about 10 a.m., sometimes a little bit earlier as well, between 9 and 10 a.m. And if you want to have the full market update that includes alts and all of that kind of thing, then make sure you join for the live streams. Also, check the links in the description below if you want to support the channel. You get nice fee rebates on WooX and on Blofin. Blofin, of course, being a non-KYC exchange, a really solid API. So they are very kindly helping out with these videos. I do still need to put the logos and stuff on here. But do go check out Blofin and WooX if you have the chance and trade over there. And yeah, have a great day. Cheers. Bye-bye.